if the TMC was trying to browbeat the judiciary. The evidence was submitted by the Enforcement Directorate, which prompted the Supreme Court to ask, is the High Court a jantar mantar? The allusion, viewers, was to the ED submitting evidence. And I'm going to pull it up on your screens now. That's the evidence. That prior to the January 9th hearing before the High Court on the raids on the IPAC office in Kolkata, the legal cell of the TMC circulated WhatsApp messages asking the cadre to gather in the court. Everyone should come to court number 5 on January 9, 2026. Gathering at 1 p.m. at the B gate of the Calcutta High Court. The message had the desired effect. It had in fact a chilling effect. Hundreds of cadre mobbed the court and the judge was forced to adjourn the hearing on a case filed by the ED against Mamata Banerjee for making off with a file. And I'll show you those pictures on the right of your screens, viewers. Mamata Banerjee holding that file. And this was taken during a raid on the TMC's affiliate's office, IPAC's office. IPAC at one time, viewers, was headed by Prashant Kishore. It is a poll research organization. The message of the TMC legal cell submitted by the ED court was very clear. Mob the court, basically, viewers. Everyone come, demonstrate. Demonstrations are per se not illegal, viewers. But the intent matters. And the Supreme Court's observation, which is a comment on the destabilizing nature of TMC's political expression, preceded an order that delivered a big setback to Mamata Banerjee government in West Bengal and the Kolkata police both. The Supreme Court has paused the FIRs registered against officers of the Enforcement Directorate in connection with their searches against the political consultancy IPAC. The notice issued to Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee and state government. The court also issued notice to the West Bengal police. The West Bengal police was ordered to preserve the CCTV of the raids. The Supreme Court stays the proceeding against ED officials and stays 4 FIRs filed against the ED officials. The Supreme Court categorically pointed out that the Mamata Banerjee act of interdicting the ED raid puts the TMC under the scanner for acting lawlessly. The court said there are questions which emerge and if not answered shall lead to lawlessness. If central agencies are working bona fide to probe a serious offence, a question arises. Can they be obstructed by party activities? Can, for instance, viewers, Mamata Banerjee in this particular case, come running to the office that is being raided, enter the office, seize what the ED says is material evidence and run away? Imagine, viewers, if all of you started doing the same in case you were ever being prosecuted, let's say, by the IT department and they raided your residence and said, look, we want some of your documents, open up, and you basically run away with all the evidence. The developments in the Supreme Court forces us to ask several questions. Has the TMC patented a worryingly anarchical model of governance? Does the BJP's mobocracy charge on TMC get a boost? Is there a constitutional breakdown of the law and order machinery that is being orchestrated by the Chief Minister, who's the custodian of law and order? Does the Supreme Court's refusal to file a case against ED suggest Mamata has lost the moral edge? Viewers, let's open this up. And I want to first begin with Shubhankar Bhattacharya, a political analyst. There's Dr. Anand Ranganathan, and of course, we have with us the national spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Sanju Verma. Now, Doctor, a large number of people will say this is an interim order of the Supreme Court. Prima facie, it hasn't ruled really in favor of the election of the Enforcement Directorate. Yes, it has stayed the West Bengal state's FIRs against the ED, but that by itself doesn't mean that the ED is right for having carried out the raid on what the TMC says is a party office in the first place, or a raid that is ill-timed, conceived only during election time to seize strategy documents of the TMC? How do you respond?
Good evening, Rahul, and good evening to my fellow panelists. Look, there are three very brief points I'd like to make. Number one, you know it and everyone knows it. I respect the Supreme Court, of course I do, and the honorable judges, but I have to be honest out here and ask this question, even if rhetorically or bombastically. Are we living in the same country where we have this same Supreme Court? Because did we watch the same live coverage of the ED raid that perhaps the judges did not get to see? What did we watch? We watched a crime scene, the investigation scene. We watched ED sleuths looking at the evidence. And then suddenly we watched on live camera the chief minister descend from her car, rush in and move away, stealing a crucial piece of evidence. Now we saw it, you saw it, the Supreme Court judges saw it presumably. Have they asked today in today's hearing, where is that crucial piece of evidence? If I was a judge, that's the first thing I would have asked. Because that's the first thing a judge or a police officer would have asked me, a common man, had I done what Didi did. It is inescapable. The second question that Supreme Court should have asked is that had a common Indian done this out of 1400 million of us, it is a clear violation of the BNS sections 221, 238 and 239. Clear violation. What is to be done of it? Why has there not been a single FIR filed against Mamata Banerjee? These are the two questions Supreme Court should have asked. And the third question, I would ask Mr. Kapil Sibal, who's representing, surprise, surprise, Mamata Di, and he says, I don't know what his team is doing, perhaps collecting evidence that has been stolen by someone, because he said the last time ED raided on a coal scam was almost 2 years ago in early 2024. He clearly is wrong, factually wrong. Here is evidence that in November 2025, ED on coal scam raided more than 50 locations in Jharkhand and Bengal. So obviously the evidence that has been presented before the Supreme Court is factually wrong. And third, before somebody comes, and I can see my good friend Professor Monojit there already, I want to say something very clear. And I've maintained this for more than a decade, is the ED a caged parrot? Yes, it is. Does the ED preferentially go after political opponents of the government? Yes, it does. But the people who quote these two things always deliberately forget to quote the third thing, that in prevention of money laundering cases, PMLA cases that have been adjudicated one way or the other by the judiciary, i.e. the judiciaries have said either convict or acquit this person, the ED conviction rate is 95%. What that means is that whatever cases ED is bringing on, and when they reach the final conclusion, they are going after people who are corrupt. Now, this is something that the opposition needs to answer. This is a matter of law. This is not a matter of politics.
Well, before we get to the evidence stage and all of that, viewers, there must be evidence. If the evidence itself is being carted away, allegedly, then even the starting point of any investigation is compromised, viewers. In this particular case, the ED's submissions before the Supreme Court are that Mamata Banerjee interdicted a raid. Imagine, viewers, had you done that, as I said, if you were being raided by, let's say, the IT Commission, the income tax, and you suddenly ran away with the money, with the files, everything, and said, sorry, what do you think would have happened to you? As Dr. Ranganathan says, you would have been perhaps jailed on the spot and taken away in a police van, never to be seen again. It's quite possible. That is a separate matter, and I'll come to that. But Professor Monojit Mondal, has the TMC patented a worryingly anarchical model of governance? The Supreme Court today is asking, did you think you were going to turn the High Court into Jantar Mantar? I mean, forget about, I'm not even on the point right now of whether what Mamata Banerjee did was right or wrong. Forget that. But there is WhatsApps, which almost suggests that the TMC cadre were asked to lay siege to the High Court. Is this a form of intimidation? Are you waging war against the state? Has this become the default template? Has this become a new toolkit? These are some fundamental questions, Professor.
No, I would like to see the ED going after Mr. Shubhendu Adhikari, against whom there is a case pending under the directive of the Supreme Court. I would like the ED to go after Mr. Ajit Pawar, against whom there is a case of 70,000 crore घोटाला. किसने कहा था? Prime Minister of this country. And the same applies to Narayan Rane, Hemant Biswa Sharma, and the list goes on. This won't happen because all these people switch sides to BJP. Now come to the issue at hand. If you go by this WhatsApp chat, first of all, I really don't know the authenticity of this WhatsApp chat. They're just saying that there was a procession called by Mamata Di. They wanted to join the procession. So what's the fuss about that? This can't be the discussion in the Supreme Court. I do not know whether this was discussed at all. In fact, the very honorable judge in question, Lordship Shubhra Ghosh, she did not have any complaint about that. She just, heard the matter the day after, in fact, yesterday, and the matter has been disposed of. So what's the fuss about it? And I do believe the ED has the mandate to go for public interest. They are observing as the public servants, not for political gain. And when the ED is abusing that mandate for political gain of a particular political party, another political party has got every right to resist. Mamata Di did the same thing. She just took away the documents of her only, not of the ED. In fact, it's very interesting to note the Solicitor General of the country, which comes under the Attorney General of the country, accused in the court that Mamata Di had stolen one mobile phone of the ED officials. Now, whenever that had happened, I want to know what kind of submission is this? This is clear.
Professor, can I ask a counter question if you finish?
Practiced by the Solicitor General of the country.
Okay.
Yes.
So let me tell you, sir. You said, what is the big deal? If cadre were asked. Now let me tell you, viewers, it wasn't simply that a judge decided to adjourn the matter. This is what the judge said. The judge cited the disruption. Justice Shubhra Ghosh said, and this is very, very important. Mamata Banerjee just before that had allegedly interfered with the probe, which is the ED raid, and allegedly took away files and digital evidence. And then, viewers, when a hearing is sought to be underway, there is heavy crowding, there is disruption, and you have a situation, viewers, where the court decides that it is no longer in any capacity to hear the matter. So you not only interdicted an ED raid, but you also interdicted a court in a hearing. I mean, which is one second. Which is what is being flagged. Now, secondly, sir, you mentioned, and this is rather interesting. You mentioned, so what about why doesn't the ED investigate this, that, the other? Yes. The ED is selective, and there the statistics don't lie. But the Supreme Court says that it's a very serious matter, and it will examine this issue on the ED's submission that the raids were facing obstruction, which, viewers, is setting a terrible precedence. Professor Monojit Mondol, what is the message going out? 1 second, I'll just come to you, ma'am. Just come to you, just asking him a follow-up. Can you imagine, viewers, tomorrow the police wants to effect an arrest. Someone comes and distracts the police, interdicts the police, runs away with the person who is supposed to be arrested. As I have come up with this example of the IT officer showing up at a private citizen's residence, you interdict that particular raid, you take away the material evidence. So this is the pathway to anarchy. This is going against constitutionalism. There's a breakdown.
Can I answer?
Yes, please.
You said the same thing during the Rajiv Kumar's incident 6 years ago. What happened to that case? Nothing. Rather, you malign the reputation of one of the brightest police officers in the country. She did the same thing. And here also she did the right thing, absolutely right thing. Because the ED came, I repeat, ED came with the motive of stealing document. And for heaven's sake, I mean, there won't be any incriminating document if there is a case at all in a public office. What kind of logic is this? In a public office, and the ED will come and find an incriminating document? I mean, have some mercy on the intelligence of of the country. And the principal accused in the hang on.
Again,
principal accused in this country, in this case,
again,
he was under custody.
Again,
Nothing
I might feel as a private citizen that the raid on me is unfair. But does that give me the right? Does that give me the right? No, 1 second. Does that give me the right to interdict the IT department and stall it? I might be aggrieved. Viewers, is that a license to take the law into your own hands? Is that a license for lawlessness? Those are the questions that have been put to the Supreme Court. Okay, one second.
The owner has got every right to resist a group of thieves.
Right. Now, viewers, tomorrow if the Supreme Court rules completely against Mamata and upholds the ED case against Mamata and files arrest charges, will Monojit Mondol say the same things? No. Then he'll say that the court is biased. They'll keep changing the goalpost anyhow. Let me bring in the... Okay, fair enough. Let me get the BJP in.
Trust in the Supreme Court.
Okay, sir.
We'll see when it happens.
Okay, so if you have trust in the Supreme Court, go by the spirit of what they have said today. And they are upset. They are concerned. They are worried. They are raising serious apprehensions. Yes, BJP wants to respond to you. Yes, Ms. Verma, please.
Rahul, I heard the TMC sympathizer without interjecting, and I'm sure he will extend that courtesy to me. You know, let's get one thing very, very clear. The ED is not standing for trial. It is Mamata Banerjee who is actually the culprit here. And let's get one thing very clear. Whatever the connection between Mamata Banerjee and IPAC's Pratik Jain, that is one part of the story. But the moot point is, how can a sitting chief minister, accompanied by the DGP, go to the investigation site and she decamps, vanishes with the physical and electronic evidence? And worse still, she has the audacity to then claim victim, saying ED was trying to steal my documents pertaining to electoral information of our candidates. The second point is this. I demand through your channel, your widely watched show. Earlier it was section 186 and section 353 of the IPC. Today, wide section 227, 228, 235, 241 of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanghita. Any person, including a sitting chief minister, if he or she tries to obstruct a public official from doing his or her duty, in this case the ED, or if any person destroys evidence or attempts to destroy evidence, he or she shall be held culpable, and in this case Mamata Banerjee. And the third point I want to make is this. I always say, and I say this often in good humor to Mr. Ranganathan also, I disagree when he calls ED a caged parrot or a handmaiden of the government, but that's not the point. I say have a sense of proportion. What Mamata Banerjee did on the 8th of January, is it an isolated case? No. This is the same Mamata Banerjee who wanted to obstruct the border security force in 2016 when they were given enhanced jurisdiction. This is the same Mamata Banerjee. This is the same Mamata Banerjee who obstructed the CBI, the NIA in 2019, 2023, 2024. Do you remember a man called Partha Chatterjee? Very quickly, he was the education minister under Mamata Banerjee. And what did Mamata Banerjee say? I don't know who's Partha Chatterjee. He's out on bail but still facing trial. Do you remember a man called Abhishek Banerjee? Very quickly. He's the nephew of Mamata Banerjee.
What's the point?
He
is
still an accused in the coal scam. My point is
Are you saying that there are...
No.
Rahul, this is not done.
Let him finish. Let her finish.
Let
her finish. Professor, 1 second. I'll let you rebut. Please just let her finish. 30 seconds. Please. Yes. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes. My limited point is this. Be it Mamata Banerjee's close associate Partha Chatterjee or Mamata Banerjee's close associate Anubrata Mondal,
Okay.
held in the cattle smuggling scam,
Okay.
or if it is the case of Sandesh Khali rapist
whatever.
Shah Jahan Sheikh,
Yes.
another close associate of Mamata Banerjee,
Yeah.
she has never upheld the rule of law. She has always endorsed
All charges,
mobocracy
fair
and
enough.
sweet veto.
All charges.
Rahul, you always interrupt me. Can I finish
rebut?
in 10 seconds? In 10 seconds, I'll say this. When Mamata Banerjee was asked, why did she barge into the investigation site? What did she say in Bengali? Amake aghat korle, ami sara Bharat Barsho hiliye debo. If you dare touch me, I will create upheaval in the entire
All
country.
that is fine, and that
This
is before
who
the
she is.
court to judge. But point is, viewers, that Sanju Verma was trying to rebut was Dr. Ranganathan saying that the ED acts in a partisan manner. That remains true. I mean, you have a situation where Ajit Pawar is taken in after being accused by the Prime Minister, no less, in a public tweet of decamping with 30,000 crores. Anyhow, no clean chit has come. Viewers, that case still hangs. But that's
Has
a
the
different
case
matter.
been revoked by the BJP?
No, that's not a different
look,
matter.
Look, I'm
Has
just
the
saying.
case been revoked?
I'm not saying it's
Come
been
on,
revoked,
Rahul,
but why do you
please.
have him in your party?
do better.
You're a party with a difference. You shouldn't have him. Anyhow, let's sometimes.
Can I come
we
in?
must.
The case
Sometimes
against
we
Ajit
must
Pawar been
accept.
revoked.
Okay, ma'am. Sometimes we must accept that there has been, willful oversight by taking in a man like Ajit Pawar, who today, in today's context, in Maharashtra, is not even with you, he's with his own uncle, who's another person that the BJP accuses of corruption. So you farm a turncoat, and what do you expect? Anyhow, I'm not going down that route right now. The fundamental question is, and very quickly, I just want to come back to you, Mr. Mondal, and Dr. Ranganathan have the last word. The BJP is accusing the TMC of mobocracy, Professor Mondal. The Supreme Court has refused to file a case against the ED. That is a stunning setback. You said that the ED was overstepping, that the ED was overreacting. The Supreme Court has gone into this, and it has said there is no question of these charges against the ED. So there you are, sir. This is a tight slap across, and I'm not saying it. The headlines are screeching it today, from the Hindu to any other paper. Tight slap across the reputation of the TMC government. Please, 30-second answer, and I want to bring in Dr. right after.
We don't strive on mobocracy. We strive on the support of people.
Right.
People, unnumbered people, which BJP can't even think.
Okay.
I come to the point about the
really?
public office. Hang on. The public function. Whenever the ED is mandated to function for people, not for a political party.
Well, sir,
And
the
when
ED in this case is acting. The Supreme Court has come out and clearly said that the ED cannot be charged in this case for malafide intent. 1 minute. Doctor.
The FIR has not been quashed.
Okay, fair enough. Nothing has been quashed. The matter has been stayed. Right now, as things stand, it is a reprieve for the ED. 1 second, sir. I'm talking as of today. I am not saying that, sir, the case has been settled one way or the other. I'm only saying as of today, the Supreme Court has now not prima facie found merit in your charge that the ED was overstepping its limit. One second.
Neither the Supreme Court found any prima facie.
Sir, I'm saying it's a stay. I'm saying it's a stay.
Wanted removal of Rajiv
Sir,
Kumar.
two
And
wrongs
they
don't
have
make a
been
right,
after
two
Rajiv
rights
Kumar
don't make a wrong. 1 minute, let me just bring in Doctor.
So why are you misreporting?
Okay, fine. I'm not misreporting anything, sir. I'm only focusing on today's order. Please.
It's a win-win situation for both the parties.
Okay, 1 second. Can you imagine, viewers, turning a defeat into a moral victory? Ye ek aur art hai. Anyhow, Doctor, very quickly.
Amazing. You're 3 versus 1 and still you are scared of me. I pity you.
Very, very brief. Yeah, look, it's very simple. Is the coal scam being currently investigated? The answer is yes. Did the ED raid 50 locations just 2 months ago? The answer is yes. Is this part of an ongoing investigation? The answer is yes. So on what basis did the Bengal police file an FIR against ED officials? But Sanju is right. There is precedence. If you remember, when last the ED officials went to Sandesh Khali to investigate
And they were
TMC
interdicted,
leader,
I know. They were set upon, there was violence.
Did not just assault the ED officials. Yeah, the
Rahul,
High
can
Court
I
had
come
to
Okay,
come in.
Nothing
now,
happened,
look, viewers,
nothing
I don't want to overstep the limit in
10
this story.
seconds.
No, 1 second. I don't want to overstep the limit. The matter is still sub judice. Let it play out in court. But today, as things stand, viewers, it's very hard not to concede that the ED has won round 1. This could be a 10-round fight. It could be a contest between heavyweights. Let's see. Let's see. But the first punch has been landed by the enforcement director. It's not looking good for Mamata Banerjee. That's all, viewers, that one needs to say. Just let's move on. Viewers, there is an important election